Hi guys, Geetrue64 here, and today I want to talk about how I would reboot and recast the Star Wars universe. It's dangerous, I know, but let me explain. Now, I'm usually against rebooting anything, in most cases because it's usually just an unnecessary and lazy way to make something without honoring what came before. How my idea here is to pick up the story after Return of the Jedi, not reboot the series from scratch, so the original trilogy and prequel stories here are still intact. So this is a video that I've teased for more than a year. It's a video I tried to find a way to share that in a way that made some sense. And so I'm just going to go ahead and give it a shot. So now that Rise of Skywalker's out, and most people have accepted that there was just no plan for this Disney trilogy, there was no plan for how they wanted to execute on it, it seems like now might be a good idea to go ahead and share this thing with you. So looking at where we are now as Star Wars fans and where Star Wars is, we're just kind of in a strange place. Just like everyone else, I want good Star Wars. I want quality. Quality is all subjective, but quality is all any Star Wars fan wants. Now, if you're a fan that enjoyed the new movies, this isn't to take anything away from you. Don't let anyone take away your enjoyment of those movies. I'm honestly glad you're having fun with Star Wars. That is all I want as well. That's why I'm making this video, to have fun with Star Wars. It's just for fun, guys. With The Mandalorian, what we're seeing here is that Star Wars is definitely not dead. It has become a major hit with fans across the board. So instead of just talking about what I don't like about Disney Star Wars, I wanted to kind of share how I might do a soft reboot of the universe. Now, I'm a fan of the expanded universe, which Disney now calls Legends. But it made logical sense for Disney to throw a lot of it out to tell their own story, so they just weren't tied to it. It makes perfect sense from a writing perspective. You don't want to put yourself in that box, so I completely understand where they were coming from in doing that. However, I think that the amount of what came before that just got chucked away and thrown away in the garbage was extreme. And if you're going to do that, what you got to give us as a replacement has to be as good, if not better, than what came before, which I think a lot of people who are familiar with Expanded Universe would agree with me that what they gave us was not as good. Again, if you like Disney's Star Wars trilogy, that's great. This isn't to take anything away from you. This is me sharing an idea with you guys. So I sat down and designed a poster. Now I'm into graphic design. I thought it'd be cool to design an alternate episode 7 poster that took more from the expanded universe, like what if the Disney went that route. What I wanted this poster to be was for a movie that could actually happen. So I had to recast the classic characters, which proved to be very difficult, as you might imagine. So in this video, I'm going to break down my recasting choices for my episode 7. Now, just a brief rundown of the plot setup here. You have Luke, Leia, Han, Lando. All the classic characters are all on a new adventure 4 years after Return of the Jedi. Our characters are building a new republic while forcing the remnants of the Empire to the fringes of the galaxy. But a new villain named Grand Admiral Thrawn has plans to bring the Empire back to power. Now, I'm calling this version of episode 7 Remnants of the Empire. And for fans of the expanded universe, you may have noticed that I'm pulling a lot from the Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn. Now, this is the trilogy that kickstarted the expanded universe. And keen watchers of my channel may have noticed that I keep a copy of Heir to the Empire on my set back here. This is a great trilogy. I highly recommend it. This is the 20th anniversary hardcover edition. I'm not sure if you can still get this one, but all the paperbacks are available on Amazon. You can get all 3 of them for like 20 bucks. Definitely get it. A bonus to this is the time period here would fit into The Mandalorian, which could be a gateway to the reboot that I'm proposing. Now, the show has already dealt with the Shattered Empire idea, which surprisingly fit very well into where I wanted my episode 7 to go when I came up with it a few years back. Let me preface with the fact that there is really no replacing the original actors because they are all synonymous with their iconic characters in the minds of millions of people, mine included. I've seen the original trilogy countless times, so they're cemented in here. But in order to get the continuing stories of these characters, we have to get other actors a chance to pay respect to the role, but also bring their own small touch to the iconic characters. James Bond kind of comes to mind with this, how each Bond was kind of different, but still felt like Bond. They still felt like the same character, just in a slightly different way. And with Solo, a Star Wars story, it was made clear that Disney's Lucasfilm has no aversion to recasting the characters, so, you know, why not go ahead and just do it? I mean, without further ado, Let's go ahead and kick this thing off with Lando. Billy D. Williams busts onto the scene in Empire Strikes Back as the suave former criminal turned politician. He was one of the great characters in Star Wars because he screwed over our heroes, but he was really just trying to do what was right for his people. Now, the first person that came to mind to replace Billy D. Williams was Chiwetel Ejiofor. Pretty sure I just butchered your name. I'm sorry, man. I'm sure it's not the first time. I'll do my best. Now, he has been active in films for 20 years, but some of the main movies you may know him from are 2012, 12 Years a Slave, Doctor Strange, The Martian, and Serenity. Now, I first saw him in the film Serenity, and his role in that movie had me captivated. The character had no name. He was just called the Operative. He was sophisticated and ruthless. He held tight to his ideals, knowing that he would have no place in the world that he was fighting to create. In every role that I've seen Chiwetel Ejiofor in, he delivers a great performance, and I'd love to see him as Lando. He could take what Williams did in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and add even more layers to the character, building on what's already there. Additionally, he is about the same build and height as Billy D. Williams. He is about the right age for a post-Return of the Jedi Lando, so just throw a mustache on him and he could definitely fit the look. On my completely made-up fan casting rating system, I'd give this casting a 9 out of 10. Yeah, 9, that sounds good. Next up is Han Solo. I've said in previous videos that there is no recasting Harrison Ford. Both Blade Runner and Indiana Jones knew this. Disney Lucasfilm decided to do a solo movie by recasting a younger Han Solo with Eldon Ehrenreich. His performance was serviceable to the material in that film. Whether that's an endorsement or not, I guess is up to your imagination. So why would I backtrack on my statement regarding recasting Harrison Ford? The short answer is because I have to. I have to recast him to fit into this alternate timeline that I'm trying to come up with. Yeah, my own rules. I gotta operate within my own rules. So why would I go with Tom Hardy? When I think of a Han Solo, I think of a few things: a smuggler, a pirate, a self-proclaimed ladies' man, a man with a gruff charisma to him, someone who has fought for himself for most of his life and is still getting used to fighting for a cause bigger than himself, which he's learned throughout these last few movies. And when I think of a post-Return of the Jedi Han Solo, I think of a man going through sort of a midlife crisis. He's kind of torn between his life of adventure and starting a family. He's going from fighting for something to building something, and he's coming to terms with that. I think Tom Hardy can hit all of these points to some degree of success. His role as Mad Max in Fury Road showed that he can play a gruff pirate type. His role in Inception showed that he can play a suave badass as well, and both roles showed him to be an action star. His role as Eddie Brock in Venom showed off some more of his lighter comedic abilities. I liked him in Lawless and Dark Knight Rises as well. Tom Hardy has come a long way since trying to play a young Patrick Stewart in that really crappy Star Trek Nemesis movie. He's virtually unrecognizable here. You probably forgot he was even in this. One of the drawbacks is that Tom Hardy is 4 inches shorter than Harrison Ford, coming in at just 5'9", so he will look even shorter next to Chewie. However, if you look at a side-by-side picture, there is some resemblance between Tom Hardy and like an 80s Harrison Ford, and coincidentally, Tom Hardy and Chiwetel Ejiofor, who I cast as Lando, they are both the same age in real life. I thought that was just a fun fact I'd throw in there. I found that out while casting. So my fan casting score for Tom Hardy would be a 6 out of 10, just because recasting Harrison Ford is difficult. And now that you know that just because I fan cast everyone myself, I can still be objective about my made up scores. Not that the scores matter. I just threw the scores are for fun. Next up is Leia. This one I had a hard time with as well. Seriously, recasting these characters is hard because they are so iconic. Carrie Fisher is Leia. They are intertwined in pop culture in that way. So taking a step back from that, I decided to go with Alison Brie. I really was looking for someone with the right build and right look, someone who could pull off that authority and badassery, but also be feminine. Leia is not Black Widow or Wonder Woman. Now, she can fight when needed. She can be a badass when needed, but she's more often the voice of reason and compassion. She is determined and intelligent. These are the traits that I think about when I think about Princess Leia. Alison Brie really fit the look of what I wanted in this recast as well. She's 5'3", so she's short enough to match Carrie Fisher, who came in at just 5'1". So they're both very short. Alison Brie also has some striking features in dark hair, very similar to Carrie Fisher. I liked Alison Brie in Community, which is one of my top shows, and she also starred in Mad Men, one of my other top shows. We have not seen her in a kick-ass role, but as I said, that's fine. Leia in this alternate trilogy will be heading up building a new republic. She will be learning aspects of the Force with Luke, being a mother and a wife. She will be the smartest person in the film to a certain extent, leading the future of the galaxy on a political scale. And with that context in mind, I think Alison Brie could easily fit this role. I'd give this fan cast a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah. That sounds good. And finally, we have our lead hero, Luke Skywalker, one of the most popular characters of all time. Luke Skywalker was someone that anyone could identify with. He was just a kid who wanted to leave his small world and be a part of something bigger. He wanted to find his purpose. And like every kid, the journey wasn't exactly what he'd hoped. There were struggles and sacrifices along the way, but he held to his ideals, and it worked out in the end. Mark Hamill's portrayal as Luke is underrated in my opinion, because what Hamill's performance did was allow people to take the hero's journey along with them, and that's a lost art in my opinion. However, recasting Luke proved to be the easiest of these recastings. I saw this picture of Sebastian Stan photoshopped onto Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker not too long ago, and as you can see, the resemblance is just uncanny. I mean, just look at that. Man! Beyond the look, Sebastian Stan is also a very good actor. Most people know him as Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier from like the MCU movies. However, I also enjoyed him as Mad Hatter in Once Upon a Time. I was disappointed when that character disappeared from that show, but he also starred in I, Tonya as Tanya's husband, and that relationship wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. And he's been an astronaut in the Matt Damon film, The Martian, so he's already been to space. To many, Luke Skywalker is the star of Star Wars, while the overarching story of episode 1 through 6 is about the journey of Anakin Skywalker. It is Luke that the audience connected with from the very beginning in that first movie. The scene of him staring up at the two Tatooine suns with John Williams' soundtrack overlaying it is one of the most iconic moments in movie history. These types of quiet moments don't really exist in today's box office bonanzas. There's always has to be exposition or explosions thrown your way or a bombastic soundtrack just smashing in the face, knocking you back into your seat. There's not really any time for quiet moments like this one. I really do believe that Sebastian Stan can play Luke Skywalker and pick up the story of our hero after redeeming his father and saving the galaxy. This Luke will be a little bit different than the character we saw in Return of the Jedi. As he helps defeat the remnants of the Empire, he realizes that he'll have to find a new purpose and debates if he should rebuild the Jedi Order as it was or change things. You know, he's trying to figure out what his purpose is after the Empire's finally defeated. So I'd have to go ahead and give this fan cast a 10 out of 10. This is definitely a take I'd love to see. I'd love to see what he would do with the role of Luke Skywalker. Expanded Universe fans may ask about Mara Jade or Grand Admiral Thrawn, like who I would cast. They are on the poster back behind me, which I slipped in there, if you did not notice. Or some people may be asking, what about the other characters in this made-up movie? What about the story? What are you going to take it there? Well, I'll follow up with some story ideas, plot points, some further casting, and take a closer look at the poster in some future videos. I kind of just wanted to get into the recasting. If the response is good, I'll continue on with like an episode 8 and a 9, maybe even a Shadows of the Empire poster and breakdown, because that's awesome. I love Shadows of the Empire. Anybody has an idea for Dash Randar, comment and let me know. Really, I just wanted to focus in this video on the recasting of the characters and just explain where I'm coming from as a Star Wars fan and why I'm doing it. This is just an idea that I wanted to share with other Star Wars fans. So, is this a Star Wars film that you guys would want to see? What did you think about my casting choices? Do you guys have some ideas? Comment and let me know. I look forward to sharing more ideas for my episode 7, and I hope you stick around for more. Thank you for checking out this video. Thank you subscribers for being awesome. And if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the YouTube stuff, or don't. I'm not a beggar. I'm Geek True 64, and I'll always tell you the truth.